Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all know what the day is. Yes, sir. Woo-hoo-hoo. We back, baby. We back. Welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Niall Frazier. And today we got a couple of things to talk about. But before we get started, could you please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe, man? Y'all already know, man. I'm so excited. I know it's only preseason, but man, we got some things we need to talk about, some things we need to possibly see tonight for some of these players to make this team, man. And a couple of things I want to talk about. Excuse me, is or a couple of players that I want to talk about is let's start off on the defensive side first, right? Bradberry in the safety position. Let's just start off there, right? Now, James Bradberry, with all due respect, we know what happened last year. It wasn't his best year, and things happen. I understand, but it really wasn't a good year for James Bradberry. He said this himself, so I ain't never trying to be disrespectful to these players. I appreciate what they do out there on the field because I know I'm too old to be out there doing it myself, if I even could. But at the same time, I know James Bradberry understands the situation that he's in, the dilemma that he's in, because they moved into a safety after last year's performance at cornerback. They ended up drafting two corners, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, that I'm both high on. I'm really high on Q, but I would like to see him play tonight outside and at the slot. So hopefully we see that. But staying on James Bradberry, I feel like he understands the pressure that's on him. I know in training camp he's been doing okay with the safety position. Playing second team, but that's mostly due to the fact at the safety position we have some injuries. Death has been a concern. I was thinking about Andre Sam as well at the safety. I've been watching his highlights, liking what I'm seeing, but I would like to see it out there on the field too. So those two guys, and I don't know. I know they got Avonte still playing in the nickel, but I don't know if he can play safety as well. Avonte Maddox is another guy that could possibly be a cut candidate for the simple fact that they let him go out this offseason before re-signing him to a 1-year deal. I know people were talking about trying to keep Avonte Maddox here in the building for the simple fact he has a good relationship with Dallas Goedert. And I understand that you want to keep the brotherhood and all that good stuff together, but at the same time, these players come out here to get paid to do a job, and I'm trying to keep it as respectful as possible. And Avonte Maddox, yes, he has the talent, but like we say, the best ability is availability. Excuse me, and he just hasn't been able to get be available for the team, and then when he is, it doesn't look too good, and that could be from just not playing for so long. But the talent's there, and I do think they would like to keep him. But my whole thing, and that's what anybody on this team, if a player can't, don't keep a player for the simple fact that he's been with the team for this long, and we think he can do this, that, because I think that's been a problem that we've been doing for so long. We've been trying to with players like Nakobe Dean, with no disrespect, but we want to see something from Nakobe Dean tonight too. But we draft these players and we want to see if they pan out. You try to give them as many years as you can, but sooner or later, things got to shake. And if things don't shake with certain players, then, you got to do what you got to do, because it's players like Sean Stevenson, it's players like, who else can I think about? Like Will Shipley, like Brandon Covey, for instance, on the offensive side, that should have been playing. Like, all due respect, Brandon Covey should have been playing since last year. You understand what I'm saying? Should have put Austin Watkins, but Quez Watkins out there, excuse me. Putting Quez out there and, him not performing like he should, and then just leaving Covey at the receive kicks and stuff like that. I want to see them utilize each player, see what they can do, and then move on accordingly, because my thing is, I'm tired of seeing players, we're going to keep him because, Eagles drafting him, whatever the case may be, and I understand that. But if you're not performing on this team, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. If you're not performing, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go somewhere. If you can't do your job to the best of your ability, you're going to have to go somewhere else, man. I cannot have another season or a wasted season. I'm not saying it was a waste, because they did take some lessons from last year. But we can't afford to have another season where we go 10-1 or whatever the case may be and have a downfall like that, and there's no corrections made or anything like that. Now, do I think that'll happen this year? Nah, because We brought in coaches. We brought in newer players. You know, they seen some of the deficiencies we had on defense. You go out there, you go get Quinyon Mitchell. You go out there, get Cooper DeJean. Linebacker, you could say they went out there and got with Jeremiah Trotter because he's been making some noise as of late. And you know, I feel like they corrected some of the things, but at the same time, these are the moments I've been talking about, like where we will be able to get to see with our own two eyes some of the players that, you know, they've been talking about in training camp, and let's see if it carries over to the field playing against a different team. Because it's all good and dandy when you playing against, you know, the same players day in and day out at training camp or mini camp, whatever you want to call it. But today and moving forward, we're going to see and be able to separate the different players that should be on this team. And it's just not talent alone. Like I said, like Avonte Maddox has talent. And I think James Bradberry got talent too. But my thing is, when it's time to shine, you got to shine bright. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to shine bright. So with that being said, those are a couple of the guys that I'm looking to see, like, what they do tonight. I know Elliott Short Parks put out some of his cut candidates. And I ain't going to read off that list too much, but for me, some of the positions that I am really looking at are the safety position, the linebacker position, running back position, and that wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 3 is very interesting to me too because Johnny Wilson has been making some noise as of late, these last few camps or these last few practices, and I think he definitely got a shot to make this team. Anai Smith is another person I want to see something from if he does play tonight. I hope, you know, maybe him playing in the game will get him, you know, get him back on track. I know he was coming off of an injury, so, you know, he was slow getting back. But Anai Smith, like, who a lot of us content creators were high on, hasn't really been performing. Now, like I said, this last practice they had, I think he ended up having a nice catch or something like that. So he's starting to come into the fold. But as of right now, man, with Paris Campbell being out with a groin injury, I don't think he plays today. This is Johnny Wilson and the Brenton Covey show, bro. And John Ross too. I think, I don't know if I heard this on somebody's podcast yesterday, but I think John Ross is injured or something like that. So don't quote me on that. I don't know if he plays tonight, but he's another person that, you know, could potentially, you know, make a run for that wide receiver 3. But if you're asking me right now, it's between Johnny Wilson and Brenton Covey. And when I first started the channel, I don't want to go too far back, but I played Madden, so. You know, sometimes they sub in the second team, but when they used to put Brent Covey and Calcaterra in, Grant Calcaterra, bro, I used to go off with them, man. I put Covey on the slant, Grant Calcaterra on the streak or something like that, or a drag route, and just go crazy, bro. So, not that that's real life, but you know what I mean. It's simulated, I like to say. So if those guys can do that tonight, you know what I mean, because Grant Calcaterra is another player that they talked about having that tight end 2 locked up. And I think he can make some noise. I was high on Albert O, so I do want to see if he even participates tonight. Really ain't heard nothing about CJ Uzama. So, you know, and then I think they just not drafted, but they just picked up somebody yesterday or the day before yesterday, another tight end. So just want to see what these guys do tonight, man. It's not really about, you know, winning the game to me. I know these games really don't count yet. I mean, it might be great for a confidence booster with the team. But I want to see how the defense performs too, as well, in the offense too, because the coordinators are both new. You know, training camp is one thing. You know, Jalen Hurts throwing some accurate passes the whole training camp, which is beautiful to see. But can he do it when we go out here? I'm not saying he can, but can he, you know, carry that over to the field? I know they said that the starters will probably be playing a series or a little bit more. Some starters will play a little bit more. You know what I mean? So. Like maybe like your Mekhi Beckhams or whatever the case may be. So, you know, just to get them acclimated, you know, in the offense or whatnot or defense. But that's the biggest thing that I want to see tonight. I want to see how these players play against other players. Like I said, Avonte Maddox, you know, injury, you know, his history is to be injured a lot and not seeing the field. What's my man name? Nakobe Dean. He's another player that I'm like, you know, I'm still teeter-tottering in between because it's like, yeah, you got the talent, but every time, you know, somebody says something about him, you know, oh, he's trailing behind in coverage or whatever the case may be, so his coverage skills ain't there, but the blitzing and downhill stuff is there. Is that enough for him to make the team? I don't know. I know you need some depth back there, so I see him still being on his team moving forward, but I think his time is starting to dwindle down if he don't really start flashing like he should, because As of right now, it's Devin White and Zach Bond at that starting position. So I mean, Nakobe Dean, maybe can make some noise. It'd be nice to see, but then you got Jeremiah Trotter in the back just waiting, and I feel like Jeremiah Trotter's been doing some decent things in practice. Now, like I said, I want to see it tonight, just to make sure that my eyes ain't fooling me, or when I'm reading what the players, not the players, but what the reporters put out, that is legit. So it's going to be a lot of questions. Excuse me, a lot of questions answered tonight, or hopefully answered tonight. But yeah, man, I'm just excited for Philadelphia, the football to be back on, man. It's been like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's been like forever. Training camp was cool and all that good stuff, but I'm ready to see some people get hit. I'm ready to see Jalen and them guys go out there on the offense and do what they do. I want to see how Kellen Moore implements his offense with this specific team, because there's so many different pieces that he could utilize. And I know, like I said, you might not see too much tonight because you don't want to give it all away, but there's so many different ways you could utilize this team. Somebody else I didn't even talk about. If Saquon plays tonight, I can't, bro. Oh God, I'm just excited. I do apologize. I'm all over the place, but I'm excited. I feel like this team can go to the Super Bowl this year, man, and win it. So, and that's not me just saying that because I'm a fan, whatever the case may be, but I really feel like this team is put together in a way where they can, if they stay healthy and they play up to their, to their potential, they can be one of the top 2-3 teams in the NFL this year. So, like I said, I already put my ticket in. I bet back in like February before they even acquired Saquon Barkley. So, I'm high on this team right now. But like I said, I just want to see how the running back position too as well. Will Shipley, Gainwell, see how that battle goes about. I know they got Lou Nichols, who's been making some noise. They say he's been having a solid camp coming from Kenny Gainwell, so he might be another guy that might be in the fold for a running back position. Kendall Milton, I haven't really heard too much about at all. I'm hoping, he shows something tonight if they do play him. But, we just got to see with that. I talked about the wide receiver 3. I want to see Johnny Wilson and all that good stuff. But my biggest thing, man, is like it's the safety position, because I feel like we're thin at the safety position. I know I talked about it on here before, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But they had Justin Simmons. He had met with the Saints. Now, I haven't seen anybody get signed yet to anything. I know he met with the Saints and the Colts this past week. So nothing has been signed yet, so he's still out there. Maybe Howie makes a move. Who knows? Maybe he makes a move, whatever the case may be. But then I also heard, I was watching Thomas Mott and Josh Davis's their joint podcast, and Josh is tapped in with Anthony DeBona, and I guess he had put out, or somebody at PFN had put out, one of the reasons why we haven't acquired Justin Simmons yet was because through some mutual source, the two didn't end on the best terms, if you know what I'm saying. So I know, prior to us getting Vic Fangio, when we did get Vic Fangio, a lot of Dolphins players came out and said they didn't really care for Vic Fangio and this, that, and the third. And I can understand why. If you look at his press conferences, I mean, he's a straight shooter. He's going to tell you, what he sees, what he like, what he don't like. Now, like I said before, a lot of people cannot take that type of talk, that type of coaching. That's not for everybody. But I feel like a lot of guys on this team understand, like, to get better. I'm critiquing you to get better. I'm not critiquing you to disrespect you. If you got to think that Vic Fangio took Christian Wilkins, and I'm not saying he was a nobody, but he wasn't doing what he was doing before Vic got his hands on him. Now Christian Wilkins is making almost $100 million. So you getting players like Milton Williams, right? And then we can talk about him too as well. Milton Williams had put up a couple of, they said it's cryptic messages, but he had put up, he wanted, this is his bag season. He want to get paid, which I understand. You know what I'm saying? He's been one of the guys on the line that's been very consistent when he has been playing, so he deserves to get paid. Now, I don't know if they had preliminary talks yet with the contracts and things like that, but I think I heard it somewhere from somebody else, so don't quote me on that. But at the same time, like I said, Howie's very invested into the lines first, so I'm thinking, like, depending on how this go, right? If we keep Milton, we sign Milton, all good and dandy, but you got to think, like, a lot of players got paid this year. I think we got $25 million in cap space. Now, he could figure out, maybe some way to keep Milton here and give him a decent deal, because the defensive tackle position has been getting paid as of late. So if you can figure out a way to keep him, happy, because he's only making like what is it, 3-4 million, something small this year. So, but if he performs, I think the Eagles should pay him or find a way to pay him. I know sooner or later this all gonna come knocking on the door where we got to pay all these players to reconstruct some contracts. That's why I'm saying like the window. I don't want to say it's getting smaller. Put it to you like that. It's getting smaller as years go on because you got to figure out a way to pay. Well, not figure out a way, but you have to pay these players sooner or later. So I would hate for him to go to a different team and ball out. But and if he does, I mean, how he got 9 picks going into the next draft of next year, and that's way too far down the line. But I'm hoping they can find a way, already knowing the type of talent that he possesses, and even Vic Fangio, like I did in my last video, what he said about him, that he wanted Milt to come down there to the Dolphins when he was the DC down there last year, and I'm glad that didn't happen because now he's coming back. He's here now, he can coach him, but for sure, Vic about to get him a bag for sure. So, and Clint hurt, so he could play on the outside, he could play on the inside, kind of a tweener back. So, I think they're going to find a way to make sure Milt stay on this team. But I do know he put that up last night or the night before, or whatever the case may be. He's put that up, and I don't want to create no problems, but I don't want to start going through what we're seeing, the Cowboys going through. You see Jerry Jones then came out. Yo, Cowboys crazy, but Jerry crazier for real, man, because he comes out and he says that he is not urgent or has no urgency to pay CeeDee Lamb, and then CeeDee Lamb just put the LOL as a tweet. So who knows what's going on there. Saying that Michael Parsons got to get paid and Dak got to get paid. And I seen somewhere else where they said maybe if Dak's patient enough, that $60 million a year can turn to $70 million a year, which would be bananas. So, yeah, man, I don't know how they're going to make that work down there, but I just know up here with us, I want to make sure that these players are happy, especially the players that are doing what they do, such as Milton Williams. Like I said, I would love to have Milton on this team, but, things do happen. And, some players like them, they take the bigger bag, and the bigger bag might be somewhere else. So I do understand, but for this year, I want to see Milton Williams as a contract year. I want him to go off, sack, all that run stop, all that good stuff, man. So, and I think he can do it, man. Like I said, I think Clint Hurt is a coach that's not gonna, let up on these guys throughout the year. I think that's what's been going on these last, I don't want to say last couple of years, but these previous years, man. Jordan Davis not being in shape, Jalen Carter getting gassed at the end of last season. So that's something else too. I want to see how those guys perform on that line if they do play tonight. Because I think that's going to be another indicator to show how good our defense will be. Because if the pass rush can get there, it makes the second and third level even easier on them. So, yeah, man. So it's just some things we need to watch. I don't think I'm gonna go live for the game. I might make a video after the game or maybe tomorrow, but or maybe not tomorrow because I got the book bag drop. But yeah, man. So it's just some things those are some of the things that I did want to see. I know I went all over the place. You know how your boy be. I'm still recovering from whatever is going on around here, man. I ain't been feeling too good these last couple of days, but I got to make it work, man. I got to do what I got to do. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all watching. We are closing in on 500 subscribers, so please hit the like and subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it, man. We've been growing as a family over this last year, and it's just been a beautiful thing, man. So with that being said, also stay tuned. I got to talk to Mr. Reggie, but I know we're having the Mean Green podcast probably Sunday. That's what we've been sticking to these last few times. But stay tuned for the Mean Green podcast with me and Mr. Reginald Barnes. If you ain't following Mr. Reggie, go over and type in the search bar on YouTube, Bet on Yourself Sports Media, and he'll pop up. And make sure you go tell him that Niall sent you over there. But with that being said, man, it's Niall from the No Cuss Sports Podcast. You already know what today is. Man, listen, I'm finna go off. But with that being said, man, I'ma holla at y'all. And one more thing before we go, you already know, go Birds, baby. I'ma holla at y'all, man.